Match day 4 of the Serie A formations and lineups.
Yeah, let's take a look. Okay, welcome back to the pink table. We're going to be doing something a bit different today. We're going to go through the Gazzetta games, so we can also just have a look at what the formations are looking like. But Elaine, we're going to start off with the game that kicks off actually tonight on Friday, Sassuolo Torino.
Yeah, it's a game that I'm really looking forward to seeing. Two teams that play really good football. Juric's Torino is starting to look more like a Juric team, playing aggressively, high press. And the Sassuolo team is, like, I really thought that they were going to be missing something without De Zerbi. But Dionisio's direct football really seems to suit the players. And they're looking even more dangerous than last season, if that's possible.
Yeah, they're looking good. It doesn't seem like there's many decisions here. There is a decision between Raspadori and Scamacca, but it seems like Raspadori is edging that. So just keep that in mind for your fantasy teams. Then, moving into the Monday game, which we're going to just jump through over to that one, we have Udinese against Napoli. So let's get rid of that ad. So, Udinese-Napoli, I think this is a very exciting game.
Yeah, game that I'm really looking forward to. Napoli is playing really well. They're looking like a Spalletti team already. They're looking dominant. Last night, 2-0 down against Leicester. They looked dead and buried. And Osimhen just revived the team and pulled them back from the death. So they're looking confident. It's not the first time this season that they've come back late in the game to grab points. But this Udinese team under Gotti is looking solid. Silvestri's look good. Neutings look good. That defense has got a lot of practice playing with each other, and they're good defenders. My only question mark is over Udinese's attackers. Like, let's be honest, does Pusetto and Delafeo really strike fear into any defense in Serie A?
Yeah, and also it's really exciting to see Osimhen actually start the first. Like last year, he was riddled with injuries, problems. So it's actually good to see him play. Last night, he was fantastic, scoring 2 great goals. So that's an exciting game to keep an eye out. Moving over to Venezia Spal. So this is a 3 p.m. kickoff on Sunday. Venezia Spal. Spezia, yeah. So these are two teams that are obviously fighting for relegation. Spezia were able to stay up from Serie B last year. This is going to be a really interesting game to see how Venezia line up. Venezia already getting a few points on the board with their first win last week. Spezia are still struggling with only 1 draw so far. Venezia are also going to be playing against Milan in the week on Wednesday night. So it'll be good to see how they line up here. I'm very curious to see how it goes. Also, Spezia have lost something without Italiano, in my opinion.
Yeah, Spezia is definitely not the same team. They look like they're missing Italiano at the helm. They've only got 1 point in the last few games. They got an absolute drumming at the hands of Lazio. Venezia, Serie B champions last year, didn't really look great until right at the end of, right until the last game. They looked pretty poor in the first 2 games of the Serie A. And then they came back to beat Empoli in the last match. Maybe to be expected, but seeing as how Empoli had just beaten Juventus, it was a bit of an interesting result for Venezia and maybe gives them some confidence.
Yeah, and I'm going to correct you there. So Venezia actually came through the qualifiers. I think Empoli won the Serie B last year.
My apologies.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, moving on. So we have Verona Roma. So I'm going to let you just talk about this. I could see there's not much ballottaggio between any players of Roma. So it seems like this is going to be the formation, but let's walk this through.
Yeah, like you said, Mourinho's got his trusted 11. He doesn't seem to want to variate from those 11 starting players too much. Same team that you've been seeing at the beginning of the season. The reserves got a run out last night in the Conference League and absolutely drummed CSKA. VR and Diawara being given a short run out to prove themselves. And the midfield looked so horrible that I think many Roma fans were having flashbacks of the last few years. Both were subbed off at the beginning of the second half for Cristante and Veretout. And from that moment, Roma took control of the game. So I think it's kind of clear at this point that there's a problem with the reserves in our midfield.
Depth-wise, it's a bit scary if someone gets injured.
Yes and no. I think it was sort of a statement last night to play those 2 players, because in reality, you can always drop back Pellegrini and put in one of the younger players like Darboe or Cervo, which are so liked by the coach. So
even on the bench this game,
I think they were. Not for this game. Yeah. Bove is the other option.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
So-
Verona changing coach, and I have Igor Tudor now. So they got rid of Di Francesco. So it'll be interesting to see how they come out.
Yeah, lots of question marks here. Will they be able to step it up? And you can see as well, Tudor already trying to play as many mind games as possible. When asked what formation he will be fielding, he said hopefully a winning one. So lots of question marks. Roma doesn't know what formation they're going to be playing against. So interesting to see how Mourinho prepares for this one.
Nice. Okay, moving on to Empoli Samp. So Empoli Samp's lunchtime kickoff on Sunday. This will be a very interesting game. I think Samp against Inter proved to be a tough team. Also, when they played Milan, to be honest, they put Milan quite under the cost. So I think they've just had a bad rap with the teams they've played so far. They got a point off Inter and losing to Milan, and they got a point obviously in between the games. I can't remember which game it was exactly, but they're looking like a good team. And Caputo and Quagliarella are just looking to get that understanding between each other. And I think once they do, this team will start performing quite well.
Yeah, it's looking like a typical D'Aversa team, very solid, very compact. I still don't know where I stand with them, if they are a good team that's been unlucky so far, or if they just are going to lack the juice to get into those European spots. Empoli, on the other hand, has been very exciting. Pinamonti, Mancuso, Bairami is a super exciting young attack.
Yeah.
Well, Mancuso not so young.
Well, and Pinamonti gets swapped with Cutrone, which it seems like there's a decision there as well. So that's also really good.
And the other question I had is Bandinelli in ballottaggio at all?
I do not think so, no.
No, because that's another player who so far through this season has really, really impressed me.
Nice. One player to keep in mind, I think, for fantasy is Candreva. I think he's on fine form. And with Caputo and Quagliarella, crosses come in. I think against Inter, he did crazy amounts of crosses. So just keep an eye on that. And he also has some goals in him as well. So moving into Genoa Fiorentina, this is also a good game of Genoa, who managed actually to win against Cagliari the other day, which I thought was quite surprising because I thought Cagliari was going to clean that up. It's very interesting. I don't think they're a great team, and I think Fiorentina is going to absolutely destroy them in this game.
Yeah, Genoa's looked poor up until this moment. I really like the only player who's blown my mind so far for them is Cambiaso on the right back position. 3 assists so far, and he's looked really, really promising. Fiorentina on the other side, just look at that formation. Yeah. Like besides Biraghi, I know I'm giving him a lot of shit, but he is actually an Italian reserve as well for the national team. So apart from Biraghi, really, that's a really, really good team. Maybe Calleon's a little bit past it, but beyond that, that's a team that scares me and really should be pushing for Europe this year.
And I think they will. They're going to be last year's Sassuolo, definitely, or even better. Then, moving on, we have Udinese and Napoli. We've already touched base on, have we not? Yes. We are still looking at Salernitana, Atalanta. So this is going to be a hard game for Salernitana to keep Atalanta at bay. It seems like they're going to be starting Zapata and Ilicic. Obviously, here you can, for fantasy, this is the issue with Atalanta. You have no idea what Gasperini is going to field. I don't even think he does until 10 minutes before the game. But I think this is a straight-out game for Atalanta. The exciting thing, though, is Ribéry and Simi will both be starting for Salernitana.
Yeah, so Atalanta, like you said, it's always a 50-50 with who's going to start. They're clearly the better team here, and they look to be putting out all starters, plus new signing Cooper Miners, who really looked good in their European game midweek against Villarreal, if I'm not mistaken. And then you've got, on the other hand, Salernitana playing in home for the second time this season. First time they did so was against Roma. And we saw that they've got a bunker mentality. They're going to sit deep. They're going to sit compact. And they're going to try and spring Ribéry, Simi, and Bonazzoli. From what I've seen with them, it really does depend on how long they can hold on to that 0-0. This is their game plan this season. If they can hold you there, they will make your life uncomfortable. They will beat you. They will drum you. And they will try to get that point or to sneak a goal. But as soon as you get that first goal, it's game over.
Yeah. And I think that's probably what will happen there. Latio Calgary. So Sarri's off the back of that loss in the cup with Strakosha making that terrible mistake against Galatasaray. It seems like they're going to be playing the exact formation they played against Milan, which, to be honest, they didn't perform great, but I think they should be able to clear Cagliari. This is a tricky game, though, I won't lie. To bet on this game, I would probably say 1 or a draw. But who knows? If Cagliari come out and play as Cagliari normally can, like they do have a lot of quality in their midfield. The one thing I would say is that Godin is injured. And if you look actually down on the list here, there's quite a few players that are injured. We're also possibly missing Strootman. So Lazio may have got lucky here with a weaker Cagliari side that they're facing.
Yeah, Cagliari missing pieces, but Cáceres stepping in as a titolare for the first time. He's going to be playing in the 3-man defense. So that's a nice addition, should cover for Godin to some degree. They've looked decent, and when João Pedro is in good form and Cranio is playing well, they're a hard team to beat and have got goals in them. Lazio should in reality have no issue with Cagliari, but one wonders if the loss to Milan and the loss to Galatasaray, noted it was a goalkeeping error that lost them the game last night, but one wonders how their confidence is doing after these 2 losses.
Yeah. Then Sassuolo Torino, have we already gone through?
Yeah.
Yes, we have. That was actually the first. My apologies. So let's have a look at Inter Bologna. So as Elaine has Di Marco lined up, it seems like that's the case. There is no Balotelli with him, so I think that's a safe bet to have Di Marco on there. Interesting thing here, Elaine, is that it looks like it's going to be a Correa Lautaro start up front. And also, it looks like Çalhanoğlu may have lost his place here to Vidal, which is also really interesting. I think Simone Inzaghi was very happy with his performance against Genoa, but the last few games, Çalhanoğlu, as we all recall at Milan, if you're a Milan fan, that he does struggle with consistency with his performances, and it seems like he's struggling through that right now.
Yeah, I think with Dzeko was brought in for the big nights. It's when Dzeko comes alive, and he had one of those big nights last night. He played almost 90 minutes on Wednesday. Sorry, he played almost 90 minutes against Real. He had his chances. He worked hard for the team. And at 34, 35 years old, I don't think you can expect him to play 2 games in 4 days. So I think for Dzeko, that's more likely what we're seeing. Might be the same case for Çalhanoğlu. But to be honest, he looked incredible the first game and then has sort of dipped since then.
Yeah, and then we have Bologna, which are lined up with a normal formation. They have no injuries right now. Well, Schouten maybe, but they have Svanberg starting in the midfield, which is great. Arnautovic has seemed to be dragging the team, which they were missing that striker last year. So it's going to be interesting, this game. I think Inter should clean this, but Bologna can be one of those teams that can be tricky. Depending if they don't concede within the first few minutes, I think this might be a hard team to break down.
Yeah, it's one of those teams who I feel like I need to apologize to any of their fans who watch our videos, because going back and watching them, I've said in 3 occasions, no, this is a team that doesn't convince me, and I've said they're not going to win. And they're sitting at 7 points in 3 games. So yeah. Bologna is obviously a lot trickier than I'm aware of, and I should probably watch their games a bit more carefully. They've got experience all over the field. They've got a midfield that's been playing together for years, and they've got a goalkeeper who I regret Roma selling all those years ago.
So this game is on Saturday at 6. So tomorrow, it's in Milano. So I might go. I do have other football actually that I need to play, so I might miss that. But that is an option to go. I will be going to Milan Venezia next week, Wednesday. So yeah, you can actually see footage of that. So I'll get that there. And then to sum up the weekend, on Sunday night we have Juventus Milan. It's going to be a very interesting game here. There's a lot of doubts on who's playing and who's not. There's Ibrahimovic, who's suffering from a tendon issue of his Achilles, but it looks like he maybe will be called up for the bench, but I don't think he's going to be playing. I think the main focus there is to keep him for the Champions League. Giroud should probably start, even though Rebic is playing extremely well lately, so maybe start with Rebic up front, but I don't know. Last year on the 3-0 win, Rebic coming on was really good. But overall, Tonali should be coming back in for Benacer. Kjaer, I don't know if he will be playing. Romagnoli might be playing, but I'm guessing Kjaer will play this game and Romagnoli play on Wednesday against Venezia. And there's also some doubts, Elaine, on the Juve side. So Chiesa just coming back from injury. Will he be fit enough to play? I think yes, even though Allegri really likes Rabiot out on the left. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out.
Yeah, that's a question mark for many Juve fans at the moment, is with Rabiot being used as the ballottaggio for Chiesa and or the alternative to Chiesa, what does that really say about Bernardeschi and Kulusevski's chances of being starters in this team?
Well, yeah, there's been a lot of praise in the newspapers of Rabiot's new position that Allegri found. Apparently, he performs a lot better in that position, so it'll be interesting. The other thing is Chiellini, Bonucci. It seems like Chiellini is starting, so the doubts are between Bonucci and De Ligt. As a Milan fan, I would prefer Bonucci starts. I think he's a bit more mistake-prone than De Ligt. Yes, there is that danger of him giving a long ball, but I think Tomori and Kjaer will be able to hopefully clear those up in the air. But yeah, this is going to be a very exciting game. It's in Torino. I think this is going to be a tough one, and I think the teams are going to head into this in good condition.
Yeah, it's a pity you guys do not have Ibrahimovic to bring in the last few minutes.
Yeah, but we'll see how this pans, and yeah, let's see. I don't think Salamakas is going to start, but let's just see that. So there we have it. Those are the formations going into match day 4. Have a look at those. Obviously, go to the Gazzetta site if you want to see some player like the ballotage or percentage of who's playing and who's not for your fantasy team. But otherwise, I think we have an exciting week with a few good games.
Yeah, the Serie A is starting to heat up. One thinks that the next 12 to 16 games are going to be huge for all of our teams, as we've got 3 league games and 1 more European fixture before the next international break. So things are warming up, and this is now when it gets important. If you haven't already, please go like and subscribe this video, and we will see you next time at the Pink Table.